Dave had that look again, jaw tight, voice clipped, already decided. "You're being ridiculous," he said, pacing the kitchen like a caged dog. "That place is falling apart. Your mum's gone. We need the money." I gripped the edge of the sink. Outside, the magpies were carrying on like they always did in the mornings, like nothing in the world was wrong. "It's not just a house," I said. "It's Mum. It's everything she worked for." He scoffed. "Sentimental rubbish. We've got bills. You want to keep playing poor? That house out past Wagga was the only thing Mum left me. Weatherboard, tin roof, acres of dry paddock and memories soaked into every wall. She raised me there alone after Dad left. Taught me how to fix fences, gut fish, swear properly. When she died, that place became sacred ground. Dave knew that, and still, he kept pushing. Over the past month, he'd changed. Snappy, secretive, phone glued to his hand. I caught him once whispering outside, stopping dead when he saw me. Then the real estate brochures started appearing on the kitchen bench, like accidents. "Just looking," he'd say. "No harm in knowing the price." The night before we drove out to sort the place, I couldn't sleep. I wandered into the spare room where Mum's things were boxed up, cookbooks, knitting needles, faded photos. I opened her old biscuit tin, the one that always smelled faintly of cloves. That's when I saw the envelope. My name, written shaky but clear. Inside, just one line. "If he pressures you, check the basement." My chest tightened. Mum hated secrets, and she hated basements even more. The drive out felt longer than it ever had, even though the road hadn't changed. Red dirt stretched forever, heat shimmering off the bonnet, the smell of dry grass sneaking in through the cracked window. Dave tapped the steering wheel like he was counting down to something. "Once this is done," he said, too casually, "we can finally breathe." I didn't answer. Mum's letter sat folded in my pocket, sharp as a stone against my thigh. When the house came into view, my throat tightened. Same old place. Crooked fence still leaning like it was tired of standing. The big gum out front dropping bark all over the yard. It should have felt comforting. Instead, it felt like walking back into a story that had been paused mid-sentence. Inside, the air was stale, dust floating in the sunlight. Dave didn't even stop to look around. "I'll start upstairs," he said, already pulling his phone out. "Don't muck about. Agent's coming tomorrow and I want this sorted." He disappeared before I could reply, boots thudding hard, like he owned the place already. I stood there listening to him talk loudly into his phone, too loudly, dropping words like contracts and buyers. My heart was racing. Mum's voice echoed in my head, calm but firm, the way it always was when she knew something I didn't. "Check the basement." The basement door was half hidden behind shelves stacked with old jars and rusted tools. Mum never let me near it as a kid. Said it was unsafe. Said the steps were rotten. I'd believed her. I shoved the shelves aside, dust exploding into the air, making my eyes sting. The door looked heavier than I remembered. Older, like it didn't want to be opened. The handle was ice cold in my palm. The hinges screamed when I pulled it open. The smell hit first, damp, metallic, wrong. The stairs dropped steeply into darkness. I flicked my phone torch on, the beam shaking as I stepped down. Every step creaked, echoing through the space, and I froze more than once, convinced Dave would hear and come looking. The concrete walls closed in around me. Then the light hit the far wall, and my stomach dropped. Chains, bolted straight into the concrete. Thick, industrial, not old farm gear, not something left behind by accident. They were clean enough to tell they'd been used, but not recently. My knees went weak. I had to grab the railing to stay upright. My mouth went dry, thoughts tumbling over each other. Why would Mum have this here? Then I saw the trunk. It was shoved into the corner, rusted, heavy, like it hadn't been opened in years. I crouched, fingers trembling as I lifted the lid. Inside were neatly stacked folders, yellowing around the edges. Bank documents, loan approvals, refinancing forms, all in my name. I flipped through them faster, panic rising. My signature stared back at me, perfect copies. I'd never signed these, never even seen them. And then I saw Mum's name. Her signature, shaky but recognizable, forged again and again. My chest felt like it was caving in. Under the papers were photos. I picked one up, hands shaking so badly I nearly dropped it. Dave, standing right here in the basement. Smiling, arms slung around two blokes I didn't recognize. One of them held a camera. Another had a set of keys dangling from his fingers. The date on the back matched the week Mum went into hospital. The room felt smaller, the air thicker. Mum hadn't been hiding something from me. She'd been hiding me from something. I dug deeper. Burner phones, receipts for cash withdrawals, envelopes stuffed with notes. Every piece told the same story. Dave had been using the house, using Mum's trust, using my name. And when Mum figured it out, she'd locked it all away and left me the only warning she could. Upstairs, I heard Dave laugh. Carefree, victorious. I bit down on my lip so hard I tasted blood. That's when it clicked. The pressure, the sudden rush to sell, the way he never wanted me out here alone. This place wasn't an asset to him, it was a liability, and I was standing right in the middle of it. I took photos of everything, every document, every chain, every face. My hands were steadier now, anger cutting through the fear. When I finally climbed back up the stairs, the house felt different, like it had exhaled. Dave was leaning against the kitchen bench when I came back, pen already in hand. All good? He asked, smiling like nothing in the world was wrong. I smiled back. Yeah, I said. I've just realized something. I didn't tell Dave a thing. Not then. I walked past him like my legs weren't trembling, like I hadn't just watched my whole marriage collapse in a concrete room underground. He kept talking, about buyers, about fresh starts, but his words slid right past me, meaningless noise. I went outside instead, sat on the back steps where Mum used to shell peas into a tin bowl. The paddock stretched out quiet and dry, cicadas buzzing like nothing had changed. I pressed my palms into my eyes, but the images wouldn't go. Chains, forged signatures, Dave's grin frozen in those photos. Every argument we'd ever had started lining up in my head like dominoes. The way Dave insisted on handling the finances after Mum got sick. How he'd said it was easier if everything went through him. How my bank card stopped working sometimes and he'd shrug it off. How he'd roll his eyes when I said I wanted to see a statement. You worry too much, he'd say. You trust me, don't you? I had. God help me, I had. When Mum was alive, she never liked Dave. She was polite, but distant. Watched him the way she watched storm clouds rolling in, quiet, alert, ready. I used to tell myself she was just protective. Now I knew better. She'd seen him, really seen him. I pulled the photos up on my phone again, zooming in. Dave looked relaxed, comfortable, like that basement was familiar territory. The blokes with him weren't trades or mates, they had that look, the kind you don't forget once you've seen it. Sharp eyes, mean mouths, men who didn't ask questions they didn't want answers to. My stomach twisted. Mum had been sick when those photos were taken. Weak, on pain meds. And still, somehow, she'd managed to protect me. Gather evidence, hide it, leave me a warning without tipping Dave off. The strength of her made my chest ache. Inside, Dave cracked a beer. I heard the hiss of the can, the scrape of a chair. Come on, he called. No point moping. This'll all be done soon. Done, yeah, one way or another. I went to the spare room and locked the door, hands shaking as I rang the number I'd saved hours earlier but hadn't had the courage to dial. The line rang twice before a woman answered, voice calm, solid. I told her everything, stumbled over words, cried, apologized for crying. She didn't rush me, she didn't doubt me. When I mentioned the forged documents, her tone changed, sharper, focused. She told me to stay where I was. Told me not to confront him. Told me help would come, but I had to be careful. Dave didn't sound like a man who'd take being exposed quietly. When I hung up, my hands were steady for the first time in months. That night was the longest of my life. Dave drank and talked big, already spending money he didn't have yet. He even reached for me in bed, familiar and careless, like he hadn't been stealing my future piece by piece. I lay stiff, staring at the ceiling, counting breaths, waiting for morning. At one point he said, "Your mum would be happy we're moving on." I nearly laughed, nearly screamed. Morning came thick and hot. Flies buzzing. Dave was in a great mood, showered, shaved, contract laid out on the table like a trophy. "All that's left is your signature," he said, sliding the pen across. "Then we're free." I looked at him properly then. Really looked. The charm, the confidence, the cruelty hiding just beneath it. And I felt something settle in my chest, not fear this time, but certainty. I thought of Mum standing in this kitchen, sick but stubborn, deciding she wouldn't let him win. Thought of her writing that letter, knowing she might not be there to explain. Trusting me to be strong enough when the time came. Dave cleared his throat. "Well," I smiled, small, calm, nothing like the mess inside me. "Yeah," I said. "I'm ready," but not for the reason he thought. The morning felt too quiet, like the bush holding its breath. No wind through the gums, no birds carrying on. Just flies and the slow tick of the kitchen clock Mum never bothered fixing. Dave sat across from me at the table, contract spread out neat as you like, pen placed dead center like he'd rehearsed it. "Once this is signed," he said, smiling, "we'll finally be done with this dump." I looked at the paper, then at him. His smile didn't quite reach his eyes. It never had. "Before I sign," I said evenly, "there's something you should see." He frowned. "What now?" I reached into my bag and pulled out Mum's letter first. Slid it across the table. He barely glanced at it. Then I placed the loan documents on top, the forged ones. His jaw tightened. Still said nothing. Finally, I laid the photos down, one by one, face up. The color drained from him so fast it was almost impressive. "Where did you get those?" He snapped, hand twitching toward the papers. "Basement," I said. My voice didn't shake. "The one you were so keen I didn't poke around in." For a split second, the mask dropped. Pure panic flashed across his face. Then anger rushed in to replace it. He stood so fast the chair scraped hard against the floor. "You don't know what you're talking about," he barked. "You're imagining things." "Funny," I said. "That's what you always said." I picked up my phone, unlocked it, and held it where he could see. "Police are already on their way, Dave. Fraud, identity theft, coercion, and whatever the hell you were using that basement for." He lunged, not at me, at the door. I heard tires crunching on gravel at the exact same moment, sirens kept low but unmistakable. Dave froze, eyes wide, chest heaving. He looked at me then, really looked, like he'd only just realized I wasn't trapped anymore. "Please," he said quietly. "You don't understand what you're doing." "Oh, I do," I replied. Mum made sure of that. The officers came in calm but firm, hands already near their belts. Dave tried one last time to spin it, said I was confused, emotional, grieving. The looks they gave him told me they'd heard that song before. When they cuffed him, he didn't fight. Just stared straight ahead, jaw clenched, like the whole thing was beneath him. As they led him past me, he finally spoke. "You think you've won," he muttered. I met his eyes. "I already have." The dust settled after they drove off, the sound of the engine fading down the road. I stood there shaking, adrenaline finally draining away, the house suddenly very big and very empty. One of the officers stayed back, asked if I was safe, if I had somewhere to go. "I'm home," I said. And I meant it. The paperwork took months. Statements, interviews, court dates. I learned just how deep Dave had dug himself, and how close he'd come to dragging me down with him. Turns out the basement wasn't just storage. It was leverage, a place he thought no one would ever look. The house never went on the market. I stayed, fixed the sagging veranda, replaced the fence post that had been leaning since I was a kid. I found Mum's old gardening gloves and planted tomatoes out the back, just like she used to. Some nights I sat on the steps with a cup of tea, listening to the bush come alive, letting the quiet stitch me back together. People asked if I was angry. I was. But more than that, I was grateful. Mum had known she might not be there to protect me forever. So she did it the only way she could, by trusting me with the truth, even if it scared me. Especially because it scared me. Sometimes I still think about that letter. One line, that's all it took to save my life from becoming something small and controlled and afraid. The house stands firm now. So do I.